Karli, welcome to Sand Magazine.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Happy to be here.
It's so funny because when I was thinking about you coming here, I was like, God, I feel like I've known you on Nantucket forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when I first got here, you
Mhm.
were there, and
Mhm.
but your story doesn't start here, right?
Right.
You're a washer store like me.
Yep.
Tell me where it starts.
I've been here for 13 years.
Yeah.
Love it. Best decision I ever made, moving to Nantucket. I felt like I found my tribe when I moved here, for sure.
And you're originally from Rochester,
Yeah,
right?
upstate New York.
And what brought you here was,
Well, we always kind of joked that, if all else fails, we'll just pick up and move to Nantucket. And my husband had a custom cabinet manufacturing company, and we were doing all these, high end projects. And then the economy tanked, and it was just cancel, cancel, cancel. And we thought, okay, let's move to Nantucket. What have we got to lose?
because you had been doing projects here, right?
We did. Yeah, my husband had a project going on here, and that's kind of how we realistically thought that we could move here. Um, and he was really gung ho. I was much more apprehensive because all our family's there. I had a stable job. I had a great design job at a firm, and we had two young kids. And we thought,
Because
well,
how old were your kids?
at the time they were like a few months old and
Oh man,
2.5.
that's like a wild time.
Yeah.
I mean, already just
Yeah,
all things equal, it's
Yes.
the most crazy experience
Yeah.
ever. And I can't imagine adding the 3-month-old to the
Right.
2-year-old, which
Right.
is.
I know.
And I want to drill down a little more on your story,
Yeah.
because, as I said before, so many people know you in this community. They know you as a mother, they know you as a business owner, interior designer. But there's another part of your life that I think a lot of folks, and you'd probably say the same, are completely unaware of.
Yeah.
And that's your journey as a cancer fighter.
Mhm.
Can you tell us just where that journey began for you?
Yeah, so it was about 6.5 years ago, December of 2014. I went in for routine colonoscopy just to rule out some things, but really wasn't too concerned. My doctors weren't concerned, um, but woke up from the procedure and immediately the doctor said, "You've got cancer. We found a large mass, and I know just by the size of it that it's cancer." Um, which my world, just immediately spiraled. You try and get your head around that. It's always those words that you fear, you've got cancer. And uh, just to kind of digest it all in such a short amount of time, before you know it, you're meeting with all these doctors and getting together a plan. And um, at the time, my kids were 6 and 8. So of course that was at like the forefront for me, telling them how are they going to react, how are they going to deal with this. Uh, so within a few days, I was up at MGH meeting with a whole team of doctors, radiologists, oncologists. Um, they staged it at stage 3, which that to me was a huge blow.
Yeah.
It's hard not to get caught up in those numbers.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that almost was more upsetting to me than "you've got cancer" for whatever reason. It really just kind of,
Staging.
yeah, it really put me in my place and made it real. And from there, we went right into 8 rounds of chemotherapy every other week, which luckily I was able to do on island. Infusion team here is amazing. They've literally become like a second family to me. I mean, it's a really intimate experience to go there and go through that, and they're all wonderful. I couldn't ask for better care, for sure. And having access to amazing hospitals in Boston was huge.
Right.
We're really lucky to have MGH, all of them.
Yeah.
Um, and so from there, I had to move to Boston in the spring once chemo was done for 6 weeks of radiation. And again, my kids were young. So leaving them was the hardest part. And for them to understand that I had to go and do that, they just couldn't get their heads around it. Why are you leaving? Um, Luckily, I was able to come home on the weekends, and it went by pretty quick, but it's tough. You're away from home, you're away from your support network, um, which I've been so lucky to have amazing friends, family to get me through this.
Right.
There's a lot of people who go through it alone, and
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
No.
I
No.
feel really lucky.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
and I've always said, to me, cancer has really been like a social experiment.
Really interesting.
Uh, it really kind of weeds out the people that are there for you. And some people, it's hard for them. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to respond, which I get. It's an awkward subject
Right.
for a lot of people.
Right.
Um, and then there's people who came out of the woodwork,
Right.
like barely knew them. And I'm getting these letters and cards, and I've saved every single one of them. I mean, it was amazing. It really made you feel like, okay, I've got this. I've got support. I can do this.
It takes a tremendous amount of effort, but also a deliberate effort and a precise effort to maintain positivity. So I'm curious to know, what is the practice that you've developed when you are having those days where the gloom is starting to kind of come over your horizon,
Yeah.
that you either say something to yourself or there's some type of mantra that you enact to say, okay, I'm going to put it back in that positive column?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things I think that kind of go into it. Again, my kids, for me, it's all about them. And they look to me to kind of navigate how this is going to go and how they should feel. Um, and so that's a big part of it. I think if they know that I'm positive, then they can be positive. So that's a big driving force for me. And I think it's also kind of a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Um, Also, for everyone around me, I felt like I needed to be positive to make them feel better. You know, it's kind of an awkward thing because you all of a sudden have all this attention on you uh, and sympathy,
Right.
and that can be really awkward.
Right.
And so for me, trying to remain positive made everyone else feel better too. So kind of overall, it helped. Um, and as far as a mantra, I wouldn't say I necessarily have a mantra, but one thing that um, I do say to myself is I'm worthy of a miracle. You know, um, it can happen. Maybe it's X percentage, but it's still a percentage.
Yeah.
And I try and focus on that. Yes, I have stage 4 cancer, but I'm living with it.